Metals are very energy-intensive materials. At present, it takes 7 to 8% of total global energy use to produce them. That percentage will go up in the future. It will go up in an absolute sense, but also in a relative sense, and that's because of 3 reasons. One is that the metals demand is rapidly rising, and this is expected to continue over the next decades. And that's because the world is presently going through a huge surge of urbanization. In the next, say, 30 to 40 years, we will build the equivalent of all cities that we have now to accommodate the growing urban population. It's not only buildings, but also infrastructure that must be built up, like roads, bridges, electricity system, water and sewage systems. This will take a lot of materials and also metals. In other words, meeting the Sustainable Development Goals on development implies the demand for metals will continue to rise steeply for a considerable period to come. And of course, that means that the amount of energy we need to produce them also goes up. A second trend is the shift towards a renewable energy system. Solar energy, wind energy, even biofuels, bioenergy, all those renewable energies, they need more metals than the classic fossil fuel energy systems. The energy transition will hopefully solve problems related to climate change, but at the cost of the extraction of a lot of materials, especially metals. The third has to do with energy intensity of metal production. The megajoules per kilogram of produced metal. Metals are already now quite energy intensive materials. But this is expected to become worse in the future, and that has to do with the issue of the ore grades. The ore grade is the metal content in the ores in percentages. So an ore grade of 1 means that in the ore there is 1% of metal. The lower the ore grade, we can see that in the figure here, the more energy is needed to produce the metal. For copper, the ore grade has gone down from 2 at the beginning of the 20th century to 0.5 now. The consequence of that is that it takes much more energy to produce 1 kilogram of copper now than at the beginning of the 20th century. Ore grades for several metals have been going down for a variety of reasons, and therefore energy requirements have gone up. This process is expected to continue in the future. And now, at last, back to the circular economy. The secondary production of metals, which is the production of metals out of scrap and waste, uses less energy than primary production. So, a lot of the energy is needed to liberate the metals from their ores and to concentrate and refine them. Waste metals have already gone through this process, so the amount of energy per kilogram of metal can be much lower when producing metals from scrap, sometimes even by a factor 10. And this answers the question as to why we would want a circular economy for metals from an environmental point of view. It will use much less energy. In fact, it is the only way to really substantially reduce the energy requirements of metal production. As a result, a circular economy will cause less emissions of greenhouse gases than a linear economy.